This is the Election Bureau. Hello and welcome to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu, and tonight I'm here with coming up over the next 90 minutes.
All the ballots, with the exception of the northern region, the Bono region, and the Bono East, have been disseminated to our police armories across the country.
With 11 days to one of Ghana's most crucial elections, the Electoral Commission chairperson, Jean Mensah, is announcing that all is set to go. We have highlights of the press briefing and of interview with head deputy. Also coming up, minority and majority in parliament disagree on the call for a recall of the House. Who would the speaker agree with? And later on Eyewitness News.
To address any public concerns, the FDA is open to audits by qualified local or international bodies to validate all its actions. We remain steadfast in our commitment to ensuring food safety and protecting public health.
Food and Drugs Authority FDA jumps to the defense of government on the repackaging of expired rice for senior high schools. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on that and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Public Procurement Authority secures $250,000 World Bank funding for an assessment of Ghana's procurement systems.
That's in 15 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. This is Eyewitness News. So it's 11 days exactly to the elections of 2024. The Electoral Commission has been preparing for this job for the past 4 years. And in 11 days, it's going to deliver. This afternoon, the EC called a press conference and gave some assurances. Let me speak to a deputy chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Eric Bosman Asari. He's deputy chair of the Electoral Commission. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, and good evening to you and to your listeners.
Good evening to you. You are not taking part in the election, but I'm sure you also have Ayem or not Ayem Shishe, but you may be anxious as well, even though you are not necessarily candidates in the election, or everything is fine.
Oh, everything is fine by God's grace. We have a simple responsibility to organize credible elections, and we are doing just that.
So let's talk about the process so far. You have compiled the register, you have exhibited the register. What are the key things before 7th December? Has everything been done? Have you crossed all your I's crossed your T's and dotted all your I's?
Thank you once again. I think generally we are in the home stretch phase of the elections. Currently we are completing the training of all officials who are going to working at the various polling stations. Almost over 95% of the ballots have been transported, as well as verification devices to be transported almost 8 regions. So we are very hopeful that by this Friday, just by the end of this week, we should be able to have all the materials in the region. So we are set for December 2nd, first for the special voting. We are also ready for the December 7th general election.
So the material that have to be used, you are sending only for the special voting or for all voting?
No, we send all the materials to the regions. Usually what we call sensitive materials are sent to the regional police armories. Before they get there, especially for the ballot papers, EC officials as well as agents of political parties will check and be sure that what is meant for the region is exactly what has been brought to the region. Those processes are completed. They keep them at the police armories. Some few days to the elections, then they are transported to the various district police armories. So you take a constituency like Hohoy, some few days to the elections, all the ballot papers and other sensitive materials to be transported to the Hohoy district command to be kept in their police armory. So that's what we are going to do, and that has been the standard.
I see. Which regions are outstanding? Because you said not all regions have received their material. Which ones are outstanding?
No, this morning during the program we had with the Ghana Police Service, we did announce that we are in the process of transporting the ballots for the northern region, Bono and the Bono East. So they were supposed to go this afternoon. So we do expect that by tomorrow they should be there. Apart from that, the latest ones were printed, Hafu and Volta. We anticipate that by Friday that should also get to the regions. Then beyond that, we did announce that for the verification devices, 8 of the regions have received their equipment. And these are mostly the big regions like the Ashanti, the Greater Accra, the Eastern. The others should be getting them before the end of the week. So we are very ready, and we are certain that come December 7th, all registered voters will have the opportunity to exercise their franchise.
You've mentioned Northern and Ahafo. Let me talk about the farthest regions from Greater Accra or from the national capital, Upper East and Upper West. Have they received their material?
No, for the ballots, what is outstanding has to do with the Northern region, but Northern region, Bono East, Bono, Ahafo, Volta. And we made the point today that they were supposed to leave this afternoon. So we expect that by tomorrow all of them will have their ballot papers.
Now, the Volta region in particular, because recently you had a communication suggesting that you'd had to recall the ballots and reprint them. Are you working within time?
Oh, no, we are well within time. Usually we front load a lot of the activities. For example, the printing, looking at the schedule, we front loaded it. So we built a lot of buffer into it. And it's the main reason why we are very confident that come next week, all the regions will be ready, first for the special voting on Monday, then secondly for the general, where all Ghanaians, almost about 18.6 million people will vote on the December 7th.
Do we have to have the exact number of ballots required at a polling station, or you print excesses? And what happens to those excesses?
So, traditionally, we add some percentage points. And in this year's election, what we did was that we added 2 percentage points to all the ballots for the regions as well as the constituencies and the polling stations. So, for example, if you have a region with a voter population of 1.2 million or let's say 1 million, we will add 2%. And that will be reflected in all the constituencies as well as the polling stations. So in all, we printed a little over 19 million ballot papers. And the 2% cuts across from the national level, replicated at the regional level, the constituency level, and the polling station level.
Doc, on election day, if I finish casting my ballots, but I'm yet to put it in the box, and I have a change of mind, or I think I didn't vote the way I wanted, am I allowed to bring that ballot back to you and take a new one and vote? Is that allowed?
Well, we have what we call a spoiled ballot. And with the spoiled ballot, it actually means the ballot paper that has not entered into the ballot box, if there is a problem with it. Regarding your question, this is not something we encourage. We do expect that anyone who is going to vote should be very clear who you are going to vote for. So once you know who you are going to vote for, the ballots have been printed in such a way that in case maybe in the process of giving to you, there is the ballot is torn or there is a problem with the ballot, etc. We do make changes, but we don't encourage that people should just vote for this and then they change their minds, then they want to vote for another person, knowing very well that we said we've added 2 percentage points to the ballots in that particular polling station. So this is not something we want people to go out there and understand that, we can always change our minds and come back, because when we encourage that, we end up having some challenges at the polling stations.
But to the extent that I have not dropped the ballots in the box, I can still have the EC change it for me.
You can still let them know that you've made a mistake or you didn't print properly. So you should be given a new ballot. You've
also said you are still doing training. Should you not have to finish training for your people by now?
No, this is the standard way of doing it. Usually, some of the activities are such that when you train people 1 month before, 2 months before, they can easily forget, because this is not something we are doing regularly. The last time we did it was December last year. So normally what we do is that we ensure that the training is done usually some 2 weeks at most, at times even a week before the election, so that what they've gone through will still be fresh in their minds. But for this year, one of the things we've also done is that apart from the training in the classroom and the practicals and the case study components we've introduced, we are also giving them videos to enable them to appreciate all the trainings they've gone through.
Now, on the special voting itself, your officers are the ones who are going to man it. Will they be voting on that day as well, or they wait and vote with the general public?
No, if you are a registered voter in the special voting, then you are supposed to vote. These are elections. Some of them are permanent officials, some are also temporary. If you are part of the special voters, you have to vote also on that day.
What happens in the evening of the 2nd of December when the special voters cast their vote? What happens to those ballot boxes?
So we keep those ballots in the police armories. We keep them. We don't count them. When we finish the general elections on December 7th, then we add them to the ballots.
Let's talk about the collaboration with the police service. You had the Inspector General of Police today with you at the EC headquarters. What are the arrangements? What's the agreement? And what is the way forward with your collaboration with them? And do you also have a relationship with the armed forces?
No, generally, when you talk about elections, the Electoral Commission is the lead organization. But elections in Ghana also involve other institutions like the Election Security Task Force. And the Election Security Task Force is made up of all the security agencies, especially those in uniform, including the Ghana Police Service, the Prison Service, the Fire Service, Customs, Immigration, as well as the Ghana Armed Forces. And today we met to discuss issues that border on the elections, and the EC was able to explain to them our readiness as far as the elections are concerned, and they also explained to us their readiness, and all these two institutions appear to be on the same page, and all of us are ready and very, very much poised for the elections. In terms of the military, as you may be aware, they don't go to the polling station, so they don't have any business doing at the polling station. But for the other security agencies, they work at the polling stations.
What that means is that I should not expect to see any soldier on voting day at any polling station.
No, the soldiers are not deployed. Per the understanding we have, soldiers are not deployed to the polling stations. What we know is that they are normally deployed at certain vantage points. In case there's a problem anywhere, then they are told to go and address the issue. So you are not going to see any soldier at any of the polling stations come December 7th, the 40,648 polling stations.
Let's talk about your structure. So the first place for me as a voter when I wake up on the day of election is to go to my polling station. You have your people there. We know the process generally, but just for emphasis purposes, we wait in the... Do we?
I think the first thing is to make sure... Please go on.
Okay, you. I was going to say that. So generally they say vote and then go home and come back and observe. Is that the procedure, or vote and wait and observe till counting? What is your advice to voters?
I think my advice is that you can vote and still hang around as long as you are not in the inner perimeter of the polling station. You can be standing far and be observing the process. You can also go home, and when it's 5 p.m., you come around to come and observe the counting. So both approaches are very, very much acceptable. But again, let me also say that once you have your voter's ID card, make sure that you go to the polling station with your voter ID card. It's very, very important. But if you don't have your voter's ID card, still go to the polling station, because we have the name reference list officer. Once you mention your name, the person will be able to identify where your name is, and the process will be escalated for you.
So even if I can't find my voter's card, I can go and vote?
So go to the most important thing is to know your polling station. And you know that our short code is still active. *711*51#. When you enter for assuming you have forgotten your polling station, once you enter your voter ID number, it will show you where your polling station is.
Very well. Now, what happens next? You move the ballot boxes to the collation center. At the polling station, as a voter, after 5 p.m., I happen to have just arrived. Am I allowed to vote?
So once you are in the queue at 5 p.m., you will be allowed to vote. When you get there after 5 p.m., you will not be allowed to vote.
What are the numbers at your various polling stations, estimates?
And the threshold we are using for this election is 750. So no polling station will have more than 750 registered voters. But we have some, a chunk of them are between 500, 550, 600 thereabouts. So only a few polling stations are even having the maximum of 750. So we expect that when voting starts at 7 a.m., and people get into the queue very, very early, by 1 p.m. we will likely have many of them having voted.
If we have them finish voting and we are sure that everybody at that station has voted by 2 p.m., can the officers there open the box and count?
No, they must still wait till 5 p.m. Officially, voting starts at 7 a.m. and ends at 5 p.m. So you can only begin the counting after 5 p.m.
When people show up on voting day and they say, oh, I can't find my name here, I've gone to this polling station, I can't find my name, there's a deliberate decision to prevent me from voting, what would be your advice to such persons? What do they have to do?
The Commission has done a lot of work on the register, so we are very certain that anyone who is a registered voter will have his or her name on the voters register. However, we have some few people, about 1,870 people, who we don't have their biometric details. We don't have their biometric details. That we have their names on the voters register, and they are in particular polling stations. Once they get to the polling stations and the machines cannot verify them, they will still be allowed to vote. So once you are a registered voter, certainly your name will be in the register on election day. And please, you can also use your phone to check *711*51#, and your details will pop up, and it will show you your exact polling station.
Then from there we move to Constituency Collation Center. What happens with at what point do you depart between the parliamentary votes and the presidential vote? Because one has to continue all the way to Accra. The other terminates at the constituency level.
Yes. What happens is that at the Constituency Collation Center, after the close of polls at all the polling stations, the presiding officer together with the team will send the counted results to the Constituency Collation Center. At the Constituency Collation Center, the practice has been to collate the presidential ballots. When they collate the presidential ballots, they will also do the same collation for the parliamentary. And you know, the parliamentary, the terminal point is the constituency level. So when they finish the collation of the parliamentary, they will declare the winner of the parliamentary election in that particular constituency. Then that of the presidential, they will only announce it. After the announcement, the presidential results will now be taken to the regional collation center, which are all located in the regional capitals, with the exception of the Oti, where we have our office in Nkwanta. So apart from that, all the rest must go to the regional capital. So you take a region like Eastern, where they have 33 constituencies. After the announcement of the presidential results in all these 33 constituencies, our district officers will send all these results to the regional collation center in Koforidua. And at the regional collation center, the regional collation officer, who happens to be the regional director of the Electoral Commission, will collect all the constituency presidential results, and this will give the region a composite result for each of the candidates. After this process, the regional collected results will also be sent to the national office. So from the national office, we are going to get the composite result for each of the candidates contesting the presidential election.
All right. Is there a plan as to which one will be collated and counted at the polling station first between presidential and parliamentary ballots?
Mostly we do the presidential first. The presidential will be done when they finish, and they will also do the parliamentary. And at the constituency collation, because the parliamentary is the terminal point, so the constituency of the presidential will be done first. Then when they finish the parliamentary, they will announce the winner, declare the winner, then the process comes to an end. Then everything will be turned to the regional collation for the presidential.
All right, let's talk about observers now. What is your plan with observers? And these include local, domestic observers, foreign observers, and then the media. What is the plan?
No, the plan is that we've given them the accreditation to be able to observe the elections at all the polling stations in the country. And in this case, we are talking of the 40,648 polling stations. And we know some of them are going to be observing the elections in some particular regions. Some of them also have a nationwide approach where observers have been sent to different parts of the country. Apart from that, we have the media who have also been given accreditation to also observe and report on the election. So they have access to almost all the polling stations we have. However, that of the collation centers will be restricted. Not everyone who has access to the polling station will still have the same access as far as the collation centers are concerned. And this is something the Commission will announce to all the observers so that they will know how it is going to pan out on election day.
I have seen a communication from you in which you said that the observation by the journalists who are supposed to show up at collation centers, you said per constituency, at the constituency collation center, there will be 8 media houses per each constituency. So you are accrediting only 8 media houses per constituency. 3 of them will be TV stations and 5 will be radio stations. And then at the regional collation centers, you would have 12 media houses per each regional collation center, 5 TV stations and 7 radio stations. How did you arrive at the decision to allow only 8 media houses cover the collation at a district or constituency office?
You know, at the collation center, apart from the media and observers, you're also going to have agents of political parties. So, for example, we have 12 candidates contesting the presidential election. So each of the candidates will have their agents at the collation center. Apart from that, those who are contesting the parliamentary, they will also have their agents at the collation center. UC officials are going to be there. So in the wisdom of the Commission, the conclusion was that to create an enabling environment for a smooth collation exercise, let's restrict the numbers. And we think that at the constituency level, to have 8 media houses is generally appropriate. And the regional level, 12 media houses is also very, very much appropriate.
That's your view, but we disagree as media. So I want to know who may have given this advice. Did you, for instance, speak to the Association of Journalists, at which meeting it was decided it's all right to have 8 media houses at the collation center?
We arrived at that conclusion based on our history and the nature of the collation centers. If you are not very careful and you don't manage the collation centers very well, you may end up having a lot of problems, challenges to deal with. So the Commission believed that with this particular arrangement, it will create a very smooth collation exercise. at the constituency and the regional levels.
Doc, your work is hinged on transparency, and the media gives you the best transparency ever. If the media cameras or the number of media cameras gives you the best transparency ever, why are you blocking them out? And I mean, if you want to reduce numbers, why are you targeting the media and not anybody else?
No, we are not only reducing numbers per se for the media. It's something which cuts across. And we are making the point that you have 8 media houses. Let's look at a constituency like Banda, a constituency like, let's say, Hohoi, another one like Bantaman. You have 8 media houses. We think that 8 should be enough.
No, but Doc, why do you think 8? Okay, so let's use a constituency where I am now, Okaikwe South. You are choosing 8 media houses. How do you arrive at which media house goes to cover? So in Ayawaso, Okaikwe South, we have Channel 1 TV, we have UTV, we have... There are so many media houses. Now, these are just media houses based here. But if you want to look at just Accra, how do you determine that Peace FM should go, but Munti FM should not? How do you determine these 8 media houses for a collation center in any constituency across the country?
So we've come out with the general framework, the general guideline. The other details will work with our district officers to identify. But we believe that by identifying 8 media houses, we should be able to have enough media houses who will be covering the collation, and they will be able to feed the good people of our country.
Yeah, but again, you appreciate my concern here. We are as media people.
And Mr. Sanda, the media houses are many. If we are not very careful, then we cannot even have a space for election officials. We cannot have space for agents of political party. Look at somebody who is contesting the presidency will have only one person in the collation center. The one contesting the parliamentary will also have only one person. UC officials, observers are going to be there. So we need to make sure that the place is such that we can manage and regulate the collation exercise. Doc,
as a country, we decided that we are going to pluralize our media space, and so since '92 we opened the space up, and that's how come we have 500 plus radio stations, we have TV stations, we have newspapers, we have online portals, and we even have citizen journalists. Now the idea is that let everybody show what is happening, and it is a reason you as a commission stopped using opaque ballot boxes and started using transparent ballot boxes, because you want the thing to be, as they say in Tree, finching. What you are saying suggests that you are blocking out the media, and that would be the first problem when it comes to issues of transparency.
No, we are not blocking, Mr.
No, you are. If you are choosing 8 media houses in a constituency.
No, the collation will take place simultaneously at the constituency.
Exactly,
level.
But we haven't complained. We haven't told you that we don't have enough personnel to send to all the places. If as a media house,
I know you haven't complained, but what we are also looking at. Safety. Public safety is very, very important.
How is the media's presence at a collation center going to affect public safety? I don't get it, because you see, in the past we've had media houses go, and they haven't. In the past, can you tell me which media houses' presence caused safety issues at any collation center? For which reason you are deciding now that let's reduce their numbers?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, Doc. I'm saying that if you say that you are reducing the media presence at the collation centers because of public safety, I'm asking if in the past any media person or media house caused any problem or led to any safety issues at any collation center, for which reason you're advising yourselves now that you're going to reduce the numbers.
I made an earlier point that the collation center will have media personnel. We are going to have
only 8 media houses.
Yeah, we are going to have all this personnel. We need to ensure that we have enough space for each of these organizations. Observers are going to be there, and we have international as well as domestic. Other partners are going to be at the collation center. UC officials are going to be there. We have our collation officers, our technicians, returning officers. All of them are going to be there. And a number of the collation centers are not so big enough. So what we are saying is that to be able to manage these places very well, if we have at least 8 media organizations, or let me put it, 8 media organizations there, 3 TV stations and 5 radio stations at the constituency level, that should be enough to give us the information, those of us who will not be able to get to the collation center. I think that when we do that very well, it will augur well for our democracy, it will augur well for the collation.
Actually, it will not. It will actually lead to retrogression of the democracy, Doc. And I'm speaking to you here as a media practitioner who does not agree with what you're...
That's why you are saying about from the evidence we have, we think that simultaneously the constituency are 276.
Yes.
And we know some of the media houses are so big enough